Once, there was a young boy named Leo. He loved looking at the night sky. From his bedroom window, he could see many stars. But his favorite thing to see was a small, red dot. His father told him it was Mars. "Can people live there?" Leo asked his father one night. His father smiled. "Not right now, Leo. It is very cold, and there is no air for us to breathe. But maybe one day, people will." This idea stayed in Leo's mind. A second home for humanity on a red planet. It sounded like a story from one of his science fiction books. The next day at school, his science teacher, Ms. Anya, had a surprise. She put a big picture of Mars on the screen. It was a beautiful, red and dusty planet. "Today, we are going to talk about Mars," she said with a bright smile. "And we will discuss a very interesting idea called terraforming." Leo sat up straight in his chair. This was what he was thinking about. "Has anyone ever looked up at Mars and wondered if we could ever live there?" Ms. Anya asked the class. Leo's hand went up quickly, and so did many others. Ms. Anya nodded. "It's a wonderful dream, but Mars is a world of challenges. It is very different from Earth." She showed them another picture. It was a drawing of an astronaut on Mars. The astronaut was wearing a very big, thick suit. "Mars has a very thin atmosphere," she explained. "The atmosphere is like a blanket for a planet. Earth has a thick, warm blanket. It protects us and keeps our planet warm. Mars's blanket is very, very thin. It cannot keep the planet warm," she continued. "Because the atmosphere is so thin, it cannot protect Mars from the sun's harmful radiation. Here on Earth, our thick atmosphere and a special magnetic field protect us. Mars does not have this global magnetic field. So, the sun's rays are very strong and dangerous for life." A girl named Maya asked, "How cold is it on Mars?" "That is a great question, Maya," Ms. Anya said. "It is incredibly cold. The average temperature is about -63 degrees Celsius. That is much colder than the coldest winter day you have ever experienced. It is too cold for plants to grow or for water to flow." Leo thought about this. No air, dangerous radiation, and extreme cold. Mars did not sound like a friendly place. "And what about water?" Leo asked. "Do we need water to live?" "Yes, Leo, we absolutely do," Ms. Anya answered. "This is another big problem. There is no liquid water on the surface of Mars. Scientists think there is a lot of frozen water at the poles, like the ice at the North and South Poles on Earth, but it is all solid ice. For people to live there, we would need liquid water to drink and to grow food." The class was quiet. The dream of living on Mars seemed difficult, almost impossible. Ms. Anya saw the worried faces of her students. She smiled again. "These are big challenges," she said. "But for many years, scientists had some amazing ideas to solve these problems. This is the science of terraforming, changing a planet to make it like Earth." She changed the picture on the screen. It showed a drawing of factories on Mars, putting big clouds of smoke into the sky. "One idea was to thicken the Martian atmosphere," she said. "Scientists thought about building factories that would release special greenhouse gases. These are not bad gases like on Earth. These gases would be designed to trap heat from the sun. It would be like giving Mars a new, thicker blanket. Over time, this would warm the planet." Leo imagined the red planet slowly getting warmer, the cold winds becoming gentle breezes. Miss Anya showed another incredible image. It showed giant mirrors floating in space around Mars. "This is another idea," she said. Scientists thought about putting huge, lightweight mirrors in orbit around Mars. These mirrors would collect sunlight and reflect it onto the Martian poles, where the water is frozen. "If you point a lot of sunlight at ice, what happens? It melts." The class shouted. "Exactly," Ms. Anya said. "The mirrors would melt the frozen water. This would create rivers and lakes, maybe even small oceans. It would also release more gases into the atmosphere from the ice, helping to make it thicker." The students started to look excited. The impossible dream was starting to seem possible. "But we still have the problem of air," Maya said. "We can't breathe the air on Mars." "You are right, Maya," Ms. Anya said. "The atmosphere of Mars is mostly carbon dioxide. We need oxygen." So, scientists had a very clever idea for that, too. They thought about biology. She showed a picture of tiny green organisms under a microscope. Scientists thought about engineering special microbes, like very small bacteria. These microbes would be sent to Mars. They would be able to live in the difficult Martian environment, and they would do something amazing. They would take in the carbon dioxide from the Martian air, and they would release oxygen. It was like planting a forest, but with tiny, tiny living things. Over hundreds of years, these small helpers could change the air of Mars, making it breathable for humans. So, we could have a warm planet with water and oxygen? Leo asked, his eyes wide with wonder. That was the dream, Ms. Anya confirmed. A new Earth, a future for humanity. A student in the back of the class asked a question. But why? Why do we need to do all this work? We have a good planet here. Ms. Anya's expression became more serious. That is the most important question of all. Why should we terraform Mars? Scientists had a few reasons. First, a terraformed Mars could be a backup plan for humanity, she explained. Sometimes, bad things can happen. A big asteroid could hit Earth, or a huge natural disaster could change our planet. If we had another home, humanity could survive. Second, it would be a new frontier for exploration. People are explorers. We love to discover new places and learn new things. Going to Mars and building a new world would push our technology and science forward in ways we cannot even imagine. And third, she continued, it could teach us how to live better. On Mars, every drop of water, every bit of energy would be precious. We would have to learn to recycle everything and live in a very sustainable way. We could then use those lessons to take better care of our own planet, Earth. The students were silent, thinking about these big ideas. A second chance for humanity. A new age of discovery, learning to protect our home. Then, Maya raised her hand again. She looked thoughtful. Ms. Anya, is it right to change a whole planet? What if we make a mistake? Ms. Anya gave her a warm smile. That is the ethical question, Maya, and it is very important. Many people worried about this. Some scientists said we have a responsibility to protect other planets. We shouldn't change Mars just because we can. We could cause damage that we can never fix. Other people said that we have many problems here on Earth. There are people who are hungry and sick. There is climate change happening on our own planet. They said we should use our money and energy to solve these problems on Earth first, before we think about going to another planet. She paused, then asked the class a question. And what if there is already life on Mars? We haven't found any yet, but what if there are tiny, microbial organisms living under the ground? Do we have the right to change their world and possibly harm them? The classroom was full of conversation. Some students thought it was a great idea to go to Mars. Others were not so sure. They felt it was more important to fix the problems on Earth. Finally, Ms. Anya put up one last picture. It was a photo of a real robot on Mars. The robot had wheels and a camera. It was the Perseverance rover. These are the questions we still discuss today, she said. The truth is, we don't have the technology or the resources to terraform Mars. Right now, it is still a dream for the future. It was a fascinating and ambitious goal. But we did not stop exploring, she went on. We sent brave robot explorers, like the Perseverance rover. These rovers are our eyes and ears on the red planet. They drive on the surface. They take pictures. They study the rocks and the thin atmosphere. They are looking for signs of past life and collecting information. All this data they collect is vital. It helps our scientists understand Mars better. And maybe, with that information, one day in the distant future, the dream of a green and blue Mars could become a reality. It is a testament to how clever and hopeful people can be. We always look to the stars and dream. The bell rang and the lesson was over. Leo walked home, but he was not just thinking about a red dot in the sky anymore. He was thinking about a world of challenges and amazing solutions. He thought about giant mirrors in space and tiny microbes creating air. He thought about the difficult questions and the brave robots exploring a new world. That night, when Leo looked out his window, he saw the small, red planet. It did not look cold and lonely to him now. It looked like a promise, a challenge, a dream. He knew it was a very, very difficult dream. But for the first time, he felt it was not impossible. He decided he would study hard in science. Maybe, just maybe, he could be one of the people who helped make that beautiful dream come true.